Hello techies, welcome to Techie Vedas. In today's session we are going to discuss about the one of the most important topics in ever asked in any interview in any organization. That is very important concept and you will get many questions on that. That is nothing but generics in Java. Before starting the session, if you like my content and video, please do subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get further updates on my sessions. Also, please like it and share it. Let's get into this session now. Discussing about generics, we should discuss about Java 5 features. We can generally call it as J2SE, Java Standard Edition 5.0 features. The release date was September 30, 2004. But I can say that this makes many differences in Java programming to that earlier versions of Java 5.0. This release has named as Tiger, and this version was also called as 5.0 rather than 1.5. Before this version, we will generally call it as J2SE 1.0, 1.1, 1.1, 1.3 and 4. But since this version, it is named as 5 or 5.0 or else 6, 7, 8 and so on. There is no concept called 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. The Java generics is one of the most common important feature of Java. I already told you it makes much difference in programming. It introduced J2SE 5.0 introduced many important features that could be followed by every programmer, every tester and every support team member. We know that whoever is working on the Java version 5 or higher, they commonly use this concept, generic concept. And we can say that Java generics is often used with Java collection framework actually. Okay, Java collection framework. We can say that Java generics is a very easy concept and simple if you understand the soul of the concept, and it also provides various useful and important features. Let's see what are those features. First we will discuss about what is the intro of Java generics. After that, Java generics with examples and Java generics with map example, and what are the advantages of Java generics, type safety of objects, what is no typecasting required means, what is compile time checking, and can we create Java generic class with example, can we create the Java generic interface, can we create it in the same way generic method, okay, with examples, what are the wildcards we can use with the generics. So all these are concepts with examples. And what is the meaning of type eraser in the Java generics. And also the main important point is what are the restrictions of Java generics, means what is not allowed to do with Java generics. Okay, the first concept is intro to Java generics. We know that for every concept, every feature introduced in any version of the Java, there should be some what is that motto of that, right? The main purpose. The main purpose or motto of this Java generic concept is to deal with the type safety of objects. We will discuss afterwards what is the type safety of objects. Just for time being, just understand this in a theoretical way. Java generics, it provides the compile time checking, and we all know that compile time errors are far better than hitting our head on runtime errors. Okay, what it will make, it enforces the JVM to check these things at compile time only rather than checking at the runtime. So if we got any compile time errors, we can handle it easily rather than handling the runtime errors, because a few runtime errors are means we cannot do anything with the runtime errors. Generics in Java, what it does, it removes the possibility of, see here, what it does initially, it removes the possibility of getting class cast exception. Class cast exception. Okay, we will see afterwards, we will see what is class cast exception and how it will be triggered or raised while we working with the Java. We all must have faced this error, yes, generally, right, while working with the collections in Java. When generics was introduced in this version, then the old collection framework was rewritten. See this point here. After introducing this generics concept, the complete collection framework was rewritten so that collection can be made type safe using Java generics. See the importance of generics here. Actually, collections framework was written in such a way that it has to follow some rules. But after this introduction of this concept, complete collection framework was rewritten by using the generics concept. That much impact it has created. Let's see, we have so many points to discuss further. Before Java generics, we were able to store any type of objects in the collection. As we can say, it is a non-generic. That is correct, right? In collection framework, we can store any kind of homogeneous, no, homogeneous means same collection, heterogeneous. We are able to store any kind of objects. We can store in one collection string or number or double, long, some other boolean. We can store anything in the collection framework collection, and we will call it as a non-generic collection. But after introduction of this generics, programmers are forced to store only specific type of object in collection. What it will do, when we start working with the generics using generics in the collection framework, what it will do, it will enforce us while writing programs. What it will do, no programmer, do one thing, you have to mention the specific object and you have to store that object only. Do not try to store other objects, because for example, if I have created one array list with the string object as string, if I store string, any string object, it will allow us. But if we are deviating that, if we are trying to enter some other object like integer, some boolean, what it will do, it will throw an error. So this is the main important point of generics. It will enforce the programmer or developer who is writing a program to store only specific type of object in collection. This is very important point, guys. And let's see, we will see this with the example. See here, this is example. Here I am creating one array list. We know, right, generic array list L equal to new array list. This is, what is this? Before generics, right? Before generics. So this is a traditional way of writing a program in collection framework. So we are adding to the array list, adding one string into the array list. But here, see, second element, I am trying to add an integer. Added the integer into the same array list. We have stored non-generic data into the array list, right? To traverse these array list objects or elements, we have used enhanced for loop here. This is the syntax of the enhanced for loop. Object obj array list. What we are doing, whatever all the elements stored in the array list, we are storing it to the obj. Okay. Then what we are doing here, this is the object. These all are objects because there is no specific type for the element which we are storing in this array list. So what we are doing, we have to typecast it to the particular type of the data type. It is a string, right? So what we are doing here, test, right? We cannot directly capture or retrieve the data from the object if it is the string value. So we have to typecast it. How we are doing the typecasting? See here, obj is the reference to the object. We are typecasting it to the required data type. But it will work for test. But what about this integer thing? See, that is the problem. The below line will throw class cast exception at runtime because integer cannot be typecast to string. That is correct, right? It will work out for test, but what about this integer? What it will do? It will throw simply a class cast exception at runtime. The above code do not throw any errors during the compile time, but it will throw the class cast exception at runtime as we are typecasting all the elements of array list to string, but there is one integer present in the list. That is correct, right? Yes. Let's see one example then. One practical example. I am creating non-generic collection including main method as well. Okay, just placing this here. We have to import java.util.star. Okay, then try to run this. There is some error here. See here, are you seeing the error here? Let me maximize it. See where it is throwing an error. Uncaught exception, class cast exception, non-generic collection dot main method of string, line 19. Means where is the line 19? Here. When the cursor moves to here, for this object this is fine, but let me what I will do is sysout the value of array list element is just, normally I am printing obj. Let's see what it will do. Let's run it. No, we got some update here. Just if we are printing obj, whatever the value we are getting, into the obj from the array list, if we try to print out, see here, the value of array list element is, first element is test, see here, test, and the secondary element is 2. But to work on that, to work on this, or to capture into the correct data type, we have to typecast it. You know, right? That is for sure, we have to do it. While doing so, we have to typecast it to the string. That is the problem. While typecasting, it is unable to do the casting from object to the string because this is the type of integer. You got it, right? So what we have received here, for that, see here in console we are seeing that still it is showing some error. That is a class cast exception, because while trying to do so, this is throwing an error. Understand, right? Okay, let's just stop it, terminate it. Okay, then next part, you understand it very well, right? Without generics, what would be the problem? Now let's see how to fix this problem. Okay, using generics concept. We will just replace this part, logical part. Okay, I'm replacing here. Okay, save it. What we are doing here, first let me clear it. What I am doing here, array list I am creating using generics for type safety. Here, see here, earlier there is no concept of mentioning the type of data type object here, but I am mentioning now here with the string object. I am saying that I am going to store only string objects into this array list. So I am adding something to the array list. Okay, and string al like this, and let's see if I'm not doing anything here, what it is throwing an error. The method add of string in the type array list of string is not applicable for the argument of integer. See here, it is not allowing us to enter at least from this point to proceed further. That is means before getting the runtime error, it is warning us here. So what we can do as a developer, programmer, or some tester, anything, any member of the any team can see here, by seeing it can easily understand. Okay, so I have to store only string object into the array list, but here I am trying to store integer object. This is not correct. I have to do something. That is the reason we can do modifications accordingly as per requirement. What I'm doing here, just I'm commenting out here, and it will print out. Let's see, sys out value is str. I am not storing this array list element into object this time, because earlier we don't know what could be the type of an object which we have stored in the array list, that is non-generic. So the superclass is object in the Java. That is why we are storing each and everything into the object. But now we know that this is the data type of string type of objects only will be available in the array list. So we are storing it in the string. Now just I am running it. And what is the console? String. It should, what is the error it is showing? Non-generic collection dot line 7. What is the error? Okay, type safety here. I'm adding something here. Okay, Control S, and now I am running it. See here, without typecasting we got the value, whatever the value which is stored in the array list object. Got it right? Next concept. Okay, what we are seeing here, we have specified at the time of array list creation that this collection will store only string objects or elements. So if we try to add other type of object than string, then it will throw compile time error. Okay, we got it. However, not only compile time error, before running the program it is clearly showing that with the red mark. So it is giving some suggestions as well. Next concept, advantage of Java generics. Java generics has mainly 3 advantages. Let's see what those are. Type safety of objects, no typecasting required, and compile time checking. Let's see each and every advantage individually now. What is meaning of type safety of objects? Java generics, it provides type safety to objects. In Java generics, we can only store single type of objects. Yes, using generics concept, we can store only single type of objects. It doesn't allow to store any other type of object into the collection. That is correct. We have seen with the example. See here, just for your understanding, without generics list in your list of, we are not mentioning anything here, anything in the Angular brackets, what type of objects we are storing into this what is our collection. But here with the generics we are mentioning, we will store only integer type of objects only in the list2 collection. List2 is a type safe. Okay, list2 is type safe as it can only store the integer values in the collection. If you try to add some string object to the integer, it will throw compile time error. Okay, you understand, right? Let's see what is no typecasting required. Prior to the Java generics, we are required to typecast the objects accordingly. We have seen in the first example, right? Object element, we have to typecast it to the string. In that way, we have to do the typecast of the objects accordingly prior to the generics concept, as the collection can store any type of object. This is the reason. By using the Java generics, typecasting is absolutely not required. See here, this is the example. Let's see. However, we have seen the same in the second example we run in the Eclipse just a few seconds ago. Without generics, this will be like this. Typecasting is required. See here, get of 0, we are typecasting it to string. Okay, with generics we are no need to do any typecast. String object, we are storing the string and just getting the first value stored in the list2 collection. Here typecasting is not required. The string value only can be stored in the list. Okay, this is so far we have covered no typecasting is required, type safety of objects, right? That is fine. Now we'll see third advantage, compile time checking. We have seen this one as well in the whatever the programs we run so far. Java generics checks for errors at compile time itself, right? So the runtime errors can be prevented. We know that the compile time errors are very far better than the handling the runtime errors. Okay, we know that. So this is what for integer collection we are trying to store the string, then it will throw an error compile time. And let's see, can we create a class with generics? So can we make a class as generic class? Let's see how to. This generics concept is not only limited to collections. We can create our own classes using the generic types. Let's see how to do it. A class in Java is called to be generic means if the class declares one or more type variables. Let's see what are those type variables and how to declare it. Those type variables are also known as the type parameters of that class. Generic type classes or interfaces are basically parameterized over types. Okay, in Java, angular brackets are used to specify the type of the parameters. This is just a theoretical concept. What is the angular bracket and what is the type parameter, we will see in the example now. You will understand it easily. Understand the problem without using the generic class. Okay, here we are creating one class. This is we are creating object, private object and public object, get and set methods. Okay, we are creating getter and setter methods. And in the main method, what we are doing, we are creating object for instantiate the object, creating the object here. Type dot setup. What we are setting here, Teki Vedas. And type. What is the meaning of type? Type is the class with no generic. For this class, we are calling the set method and passing the Teki Vedas in place of offset. And this type dot get off. So we have to get this object. Here. See, typecasting is required and there is possibility of class cast exception in case of any glitches or any issues. If we forget to do it, so we will get the class cast exception. But however, instead of the class cast exception, we have to do typecasting explicitly for this kind of scenario without generics. Okay, but the same, how can we fix it using generics? we are using the T type parameter to create one generic class of a specific type. Okay, here we are using the T as a type parameter to create one generic class of a specific type. The T type in the Java generics, the T type in the Java generics indicates that it can refer to any type. If we mention T type means in the Java generic class, it refers to either integer, string or any other classes as well. Let's see how to do it. This is the class name. See here, we are doing extra thing here, adding T type parameter with the angular brackets just next to the class name. Okay, we are creating the object as usual, and getter and setter methods. Here we are creating object for this class, and we are passing that instead of T, here we are saying that we will pass the string object to this generic. See here, we are setting Techivedas, it is valid only. And here, this is again we are creating another object for the same class without T type parameter, and we are trying to, what is that? Set another value. Okay, we are trying to set another value here. It is also valid because here specifically mentioning that we will store the string object only. Here we didn't mention that whether we store string object or anything. However, what we are doing, we are not retrieving any value from here. We are not retrieving any value from here, but this type of definition is correct only. Okay, but we haven't declared here this generic class object is a T type parameter, not defining the type here. And type 2 dot set of 2. See here, in the type 2 for this kind of class object, we are trying to set of 2. It is also valid as auto boxing is supported in this scenario. We know there is a separate concept called auto boxing. We will discuss in further sessions what is the boxing and auto boxing. For time being, for now, just understand that there is a auto boxing concept. If we mention like this also, it is valid. This is a concept of generics. Okay, we can see in the main method of our class that how we have used the generic type class. We are not required to do the typecasting, and there is no possibility of class cast exception at runtime. This is in the concept of generic type class, T type parameter. By passing the T type parameter and while creating the object, we are mentioning that it is a kind of a string object. It will store only string data. One thing is important Java generics is if we do not provide the specific type at creation, then compiler will show us warning that generic type class is a raw type. Raw means there is no specific type. Okay, this is also one of the important point to remember. While creation of that generics class, the compiler will show, okay, what is the warning? Generic type class is a raw type. We should also remember that the references for generic type, nothing but generic type class, should be parameterized. Okay, in case we do not provide the type, then it will allow all the type of objects, then it will lead to need of typecasting. This is what we did here. This is what they are mentioning. They are discussing about this point without defining the or declaring the type parameter. See, generic types, we should do some parameterized. In that case, we do not provide the type, then it will allow all type of objects, then it will lead to need to typecast it, and then there will be a possibility at runtime exception, that is class cast exception can occur. Okay, what is a Java generic interface? How to create a generic interface in Java? Similar to the Java generics class, we can create the generic interfaces as well in Java. Let's see how to do it. We can have a single or multiple type parameters in the interface as well. Just remember that type parameters are nothing but whatever the angular brackets we are giving, and in between the angular brackets we are mentioning, or we are defining the type parameter. Okay, here what they are saying that we can pass single or multi-type parameters in the interface as well. For example, we have in map interface, let's see how to do it. We can also have parameterized value to the parameterized type as well. How to do it? New hash map of, we are passing the key as integer, and instead of value, key value pair, right, instead of value we are passing as is. This is the passing the type parameter, list of string. We are saying that a string object, we will pass string objects only to the list collection, is completely valid, right? There are multiple generic interfaces exist in Java. Already some generic interfaces are exist in Java. One of the most common generic interface is comparable interface. Comparable, we know, right? Comparable, compared to, okay? And see below, in the means comparable interface is in the java.util package. This is how we generally define public interface. Interface name is comparable. Parameter is type parameter is t. The method is public int compare to of. Compare to of, this is the type parameter and object of that. This is how we will define. Generic data type. What is the Java generic type? Java has some naming convention rules to make the code more readable and understandable. Naming convention for any programming language is very essential, that we all are aware of that. It helps the programmers in many ways. Let's see. We have naming convention in Java generic type as well to make the code easy to understand. Java generics has some own naming conventions. Let's see that. Type parameters are single letter. Type parameters are uppercase letters. So whatever the type parameters we should define, it should be a single letter. That is why we are mentioning generally as a T, capital T, and parameters are should be in uppercase. The most common type parameter names are, we generally use it so far, T, type parameter, and we can also pass V, value. See here, we have seen one example for hash map, right, just before. In place of what is that, key value pair, right, we can pass V as in place of value. Element, collection element, we can use element, we can use key, we can use n, number. These are the type parameters which allows in defining the Java generic type parameter. What is a generic method? So like generic class, generic interfaces, we can also create the generic methods as we have seen in the previous section. Okay, we have created so far generic class. If you do not want the complete class to be made generic and parameterized, then we can create the generics method based upon our requirement. If it is related to the class, we can make that class as generic class. Otherwise one method, particular method, then we can make it as a generic method. Not only just methods, we can make the Java constructors generic too, as constructors also a special type of methods in Java. Yes, right, constructors are also type of methods in Java, special type of methods. Let's see the example how to create the generic method. This is the class. This is the class we are creating, and this is the method. This is the generic method. Boolean return type is equal is the method. Is equal is the method, and this is the t parameter we are passing to the method. Return type is t. Return type is t type parameter. Generic type class, and we are passing this parameter and second parameter also. Okay, this class, this generic type class, we are passing as one parameter and second parameter as well. This is how we can pass parameters to the method, generic parameters to the method. So returning something, let's see. and in the main method creating the object class. For generic type class we are creating an object. Okay, type of string, we are saying that we will store string object only. So in the p1.set method we are sending tv. In the same way we are creating second object. Also we are saying that we will store string objects only. For that p2.set method it is saying that it is setting that tv. Okay, what it is doing, generic method sample dot is equal. Now what it will happen, it will invoke this is equal method by passing p1 p2 means this p1 and p2 means we are indirectly sending this value and this value to the is equal method. Here it will replace with tv, p1 tv, here it will replace with p2 tv. So it is trying to compare both the values and just assigning value to the is equal. That's all it is doing. We can see that the generic method in the above example shows the syntax to use the generic types in Java methods as well. We have seen how to do it. We can specify the actual type when we are calling those methods. See here, this is the point we are discussing about. While calling the methods, we can pass the actual type. See here, we are calling the actual type. Here the parameter is generic tp1, we have mentioned is generically, but while passing or invoking, what we are doing, we are passing the actual values here. In place of this we are passing the actual values. This is what this point is telling about us. We can specify the actual type when we are calling these methods. Java compiler itself determines what type of variable to use, and this phenomena is called the type interface. Okay, this is called the type interface. Next one, Java generic wildcards. What is a wildcard? See here, what are the wildcards which are available in generics? Wildcards in Java generics are very important and essential, because in this concept the symbol is question mark. This is the wildcard we generally use, is the wildcard, and it represents the unknown type. We are saying question mark is nothing but don't know exactly what kind of object we are storing or passing, we don't know. In that scenario we will use this question mark, this wildcard. The symbol question mark represents the wildcard element in Java. Example, how to mention that? In the Angular brackets, question mark extends the number, which means that any subclass of number can be replaced with the question mark. Nothing but int, small int. We can replace number subclasses small int. If you make it as integer, in that scenario also it will work. So any subclass of this data type can be replaced with the question mark here. The wildcard are used as a type of parameter, local variables, fields and return type, etc. Okay. However, wildcards cannot be used when we are invoking a generic method. If we are invoking a generic method, the wildcards cannot be used, or we are instantiating the generic class. While instantiating the generic class or while invoking the generic method, we shouldn't use the wildcards. Just remember that important point as well. Let's see what is the upper bounded wildcard. This is one type of wildcard. Generics upper bounded wildcard. The upper bounded wildcards are basically used to decrease the restrictions on a variable. Let's see, just this is the theoretical part. It will do the main purpose of this upper bounded wildcard is to decrease the restrictions on the variable. It is used to restrict the unknown type. It is used to restrict the unknown type to be one specific type or also subtype of that type. It is nothing but what it is saying. It is used to restrict the unknown type. Unknown type means question mark. Question mark will be replaced to be one specific type or also a subtype of that, whatever the type that is mentioned here. Upper bounded wildcards are declared with wildcard character, however question mark, followed by extends or implements, followed by Extends or implements in case of class or interface. For the class we can use extends, for interface we will use here means implements. However, we can do for class extends another class implements another interface. We can replace extends with the implements while we are working with the interface. Let's see the example of upper bound. List of question mark extends number. In the case of upper bound, what we have to do? We have to use some uppercase equal to or else some upper value. What is the upper to number data type? We can use that here. And question mark is the wildcard character in the syntax. Extends is the keyword and number is the class present in the java.lang package. Now let's understand how upper bounded wildcards are less restrictive. This is what we have discussed while discussing about upper bound wildcards. What is less restrictive? Suppose we want our method to accept only list of numbers and its subtypes. The method should accept only a list of numbers and its subtypes like double and integer only. See here, double and integer are subtypes to the number data type. Okay, and if a method want to accept only those kind of values, then we will use the upper bounded wildcard like this. Upper bound wildcards in the like this. See here, list question mark extends number, and it is a less restrictive than the list of number. If you mention the list of number means we should enter only numbers, but here we can use doubles, we can use integers, we can use ints. Okay, instead of number we can use number as well. See here, compared to this one and this one, this is we have much liberty, right? We can enter many values than using this. Will accept list of numbers only. See here, the list of number will accept list of numbers only, but list of this one will accept type of number and its subclasses as well. You understand, right? What is the upper bound wildcards and what is the use? So upper bound wildcards are less restrictive than directly mentioning like this. See the example. See the example. Upper bound example is below method we have a parameter which is upper bounded wildcard. See here, double return type. However, this is sum is the method. Here what we are saying, we are using upper bound wildcard here to the array list. We are saying that we can allow the numbers or subclass of this number data type like double, integer and int as well. Okay, we can allow to store those kind of objects in array list. List num. See here what I am seeing, what I am doing here, num dot double value of. Here we have stored the 0.0 double value. We are getting into the result and we are returning the result. We are returning the result to the sum method. Okay, but if you see here, we have mentioned it as question mark extends number. That is why it is allowing double value. Otherwise, if you mention like array list of number, it will throw an error if you do like this. You understand, right? Simply what we are doing, that creating a list of integers here, array list of integer, and passing the integer value, and here I am passing the double value, and also he can either here I can create another list for number, array list of number also I can mention integer, double and number as well. And what I am doing is I am getting the sum of integers, sum of double and sum of number. You got it, right? So no need to actually run this program because it is a straightforward way, and simply we have to understand one thing. If we mention array list with the upper wildcard, upper bound wildcard, then see, then we can create any kind of subclasses or same value, same equal kind of array list values. In the above example, we can see that our method implementation is working for integer and double. Both are, these are two subclasses of number. This is what. Let's see unbounded wildcard. This is upper bounded wildcard. So far we have discussed unbounded wildcard. Let's see. The unbounded wildcard helps in situation where we want our generic method to accept unknown type, means all types such as this, like this. If we mention list of question mark, means it is saying that I don't know what type of object the user or will store in that list. So I have given it as question mark. That is nothing but if we mention like that, that we will call it as a unbounded wildcard. Now this list is accepting an unknown type. So we can pass any type to the list and it will accept that type. Unbounded wildcards can be used in below scenarios. Let's see. If the method is implemented using the functionality provided in the object class, as object is the superclass of every class in the Java. See, right? This is correct. Because the object class is the superclass of every class in the Java, and it allows us to have a functionality, unanimously, like we don't know which kind of object it stores something, right? If the generic class is containing the methods, if the generic class, whatever the generic class is containing the methods which do not depend upon the type parameters. Understand this point. If the generic class is containing the methods which do not depend upon type parameter, this is not depend upon any type parameter. That is why we are using the unbounded wildcard. Okay, let's see the example of unbounded wildcard. Unbounded wildcard example is, see here, this is the method, one of the method we are using the unbounded wildcard for the method parameter. This is the method parameter, and we can say this is the unbounded wildcard method because we are passing the unbounded wildcard parameter. List of question mark. See, this is the syntax of unbounded wildcard, and here we are passing the list for the object and we are just printing it. And in the main method, what we are doing, let's see here. See here, we have used a list of question mark. So in list of question mark, we are passing list of string object. We are saying that we will store string objects only as list 5 4. We are passing like this. Okay, we are passing like this. Show the list of strings. See, just to show off list 1 means what it is calling. If we saying that invoking the show method, it will go to, cursor will go to this method and passing list 1. We are passing this list 1 means we are passing these 3 values to the show method parameters. So if you do like that, it will print completely like 5 4 and 2 values. Okay, also what we are doing, we are creating another list as integer objects. List of integer, here string object, here integer object. Next we can create a double object, another thing we can create a number object, another thing we can create a boolean object, like so. We can create many kind of list objects based upon our requirement because we have used unbounded wildcard. You understand, right? It's a very easy concept if you understand it well. Okay, let's see. In the above example, we can see that our method implementation is working for integer, string, and if we use other objects, type parameters also, it will work because we have used unbounded wildcards. That is the main sole purpose of using unbounded wildcard. Let's see the lower bounded wildcard. So far we have discussed upper bounded wildcard and unbounded wildcard. Now we are going to discuss lower bounded wildcard. Lower bounded wildcards are used to restrict the unknown type to be one specific type or super type. If you are using the lower bounded wildcard means it will allow the same type you have mentioned there. See here, this is the syntax. Let me explain using this syntax. We can say that this is the lower bounded wildcard. What it will do, if you mention like this, it will allow you can create the list with the integer or super of this integer class, integer object, integer data type. See here, that is why we have used super. Okay, but in this concept, For upper bounded wildcard, we have used extends. Okay, have you ever see this? Lower bounded wildcards are used to restrict the unknown type of specific type, unknown the specific type or a super type or a super type of this data type. Lower bounded wildcards are declared. These lower bounded wildcards are declared with wildcard characters. See here, lower bounded wildcards are declared with the wildcard character that is question mark followed by the super keyword and then followed by its lower bound. Okay, so if you mention like this, see here, question mark is wildcard, super is the keyword, integer is the wrapper class. If you mention the list object, list collection as like this, either you can create a list of integer or else super to this data type. Let's see one example. Lower bounded wildcards are used in this scenario where we want our method to accept the object of provided class or its super class, the same class, provided class or its super class. Let's see the example for lower bound wildcard. If we want our method to accept the list of integer and also its super classes which are number and object, then we will use the lower bounded wildcards because number and object are super classes to integer class. Like this, list of angular brackets question mark super integer, it will accept the list of integer as well, list of integers super class, nothing but number and object. It is a less restrictive. Let's see the example now. Below is this method accepting the lower bounded wildcards. Let's see, show method, it is accepting the lower bounded wildcard as a parameter because we have used super. If we use these extends in place of super is nothing but upper bounded wildcard. We are using super keyword, nothing but lower bounded wildcard. Let's create in the main method, create the list of integer. We can create the list of integer because we can create the same type and it's a super type. Whatever the data type we have mentioned or wrapper class we mentioned here, we can create this type and super type of this. So we have created one list of integer and passing the integers, and we are creating list of numbers. We can create list of number also because number is the super class to integer. So we have successfully created a list of integer and list of numbers and we are passing list to. So it will print accordingly. In the above example, see here, in the above example, we can see that our method implementation is working for integer and number. If we mention list of object also, it will work because object is the super class in Java, super class for every class in Java. Let's see. Next concept is Java generics type erasure. Type erasure. Erasure we can we can say like eraser or erasure. As we have learned so far, Java generics was added with the main purpose of type safety at compile time. Generics has no role during the runtime. Yes, it mainly deal with the compile time, means it has no role during the runtime. Type erasure can be explained as the process of enforcing type constraints only at compile time. Type constraints only at compile time and discarding the element type information at runtime. Therefore, the compiler ensures type safety of our code and prevents the runtime errors. Means the compiler will check this kind of code at the compile time only, not at the runtime, to prevent the runtime errors. You understand, right? The main purpose of type erasure. The Java compiler uses one feature called the type erasure, which removes all the generics type checking code from the bytecode and also inserts the typecasting if required. It is a process in which the compiler replaces a generic parameter with actual class or any method. Just ignore this point because you will be confused. Nothing is there in that. Let me explain you the next point. The responsibility of type erasure feature is to ensure, this is the one of the main point, to ensure that new classes are not created for the parameterized type, so that generics does not create any runtime overhead. It doesn't allow to create the new parameterized type. Okay, type erasure can occur at, see, we can create the type erasure for the class, for the methods, or at variable levels also we can create at 3 levels. Suppose if we have a generic class as below in our code, let's see how to see the example here. Public class name, this is the generic class because we are using this type parameter. The parameter is t, it extends the comparable of t. See, extends, we have used extends in the type parameter is nothing but upper bounded wildcard. T here, comparable of t. Let's see, we have created the private t, private example, nothing but this is the private constructor. Public example of nothing but public constructor. We are passing t comma data comma example of t next. Okay, t comma data. T data, this is the parameter, private parameter we are passing, and also in the place of comparable we are passing that example of t, nothing but we are passing this thing here. We are using one method to get the data, that is the get data. Let's see, the Java compiler, it replaces the bounded type parameter t in the above example. See, the Java compiler, it replaces the bounded type parameter t in the above example with the first bound interface. What is the first bound interface here? First bound, this is the bounded value and this is the interface. Comparable is one of the interface. First bounded interface, that is comparable. That is what they mentioned here. The Java compiler replaces the bound type parameters, bound type parameter t in the above example with the interface, that is comparable. This is called type erasure. Let's see below how they are doing it. The same example class, comparable. See here, earlier it was t data, type parameter data. The actual value is replacing private comparable data, private example next. Same code we are replacing with the one of the bound interface, that is comparable. Public node of comparable data example next. And here we are replacing return type parameter as comparable. Okay, you understand this concept, right? What type erasure will do that? Just I will give you a glance here again. Main purpose of the type safety at compile time, it ensures by the it will be taken care by the type erasure. Type erasure can be explained as the process of enforcing the type constraints only at compile time and discarding the element type information at runtime. Type safety will take care by the compile time, at the compile time, not at the runtime. It will be taken care by the type erasure. What is not allowed to do with generics? What are the restrictions for the generics? We will see here. There are certain restrictions with using the generics. First one is we cannot create the static field of type. We are not allowed to create static generic parameterized member in generics. Static, see here, in the generic class, it won't allow us to create the static parameter or static member. We can say that static member in the generic class. If you do so, it will throw an compile time error. If we will create one, the Java compiler will throw us the compile time error stating cannot make a static reference to the non-static type t. Okay, this is the static member to the non-static reference We cannot create instance of t. Also we cannot create the instance of type parameter. Generics does not allow to create the instance of type parameter. If we will do so, the compiler will throw error stating cannot instantiate the type t. Example is, this is the generic class with the type parameter. We are creating the constructor here, public generic test of, and in that we are creating the object or instance of this t. So if you do so, it will throw a compile time error. Generics cannot be declared with primitives. What it is saying? Generics cannot be declared with primitive values or primitive types. Generics does not allow primitives in the declaration. We cannot declare any generic exception. We cannot declare any generic expression like list or list, etc. Let's see. We can use the respective wrapper classes in place of the primitives, and we can then use the primitives at the time of passing the value. Then it will be accepted as auto boxing is supported in generic. This is the straightforward way and straightforward point. Let me explain you clearly here. What it is saying, we cannot able to declare the generics with primitive values like int, string, char and so on, but it will allow us to create with wrapper classes in place of primitives. But while passing the value, we will use the primitives only. See here, final list of double, this is the wrapper class. It is allowed, but while declaring, if you do like this list of double, it is not allowed. But while passing this value to this generic list, you can pass the double value. We can pass the double value, nothing but primitive value. Got it? Last one is generic exception class cannot be created. We cannot create generic exception class. See, we cannot create exception classes using generics. Okay, let me explain you the example. This is the custom exception class, generic class. This is extends the exception class. Compile time error. If you try to create a generic exception class, then Java compiler will throw error stating that the generic class custom exception may not be subclass of java.lang.throwable, because throwable is the superclass for exception hierarchy. Okay, you got it right. Generic exception class, it cannot be created, and generics cannot be declared with primitives. And the next one is we cannot create instance of the type parameter, and we cannot create a static field of type parameter. These are the restrictions of generics in Java. I hope that you understand all the concepts of generics so far. If you have any queries, please do mention it in the comment area. I will go through each and every comment, and I will try to answer your queries with a valid explanation. And till my next session, have a nice day. Bye bye.